Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are still working on our expedition here. We've got a lot of infamy, so we're gonna maybe chill this time through, and we're still working on building up some extra government admins so that we cannot have this goofing up our government our revenues. Let me see. Other stuff on the agenda. We are at 21 infamy, so we're dealing with that a little bit. We're in the process of incorporating some of these areas. So a couple of these are going to be... So Hausaland is going to be a state pretty soon. Statehood for Hausaland, that's what we're about. I think I'm going to reduce Liberia's autonomy. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. They will accept. Beautiful. Go ahead and confirm that. Just make sure that that happened. Beautiful. Alright, they are now a puppet. I know I increased their autonomy before, so I've reduced it now. So, let me see. So, does that change their liberty desire? It does not to do it via infamy. But, can I then... I can't reduce... I can't... Oh, I can't annex here because I would be annexing. Alright, so... A circular expedition. The expedition to map the West has been traveling in circles. Lucius Edmondson can either pick a random direction and push on, or wait for night to fall and use the stars as a guide. I recognized the markings that we left on a triangular-shaped rock. We kept walking, as I decided not to mention them, but for the whispers among the members and their unsettling eyes, I was sure they also knew. We walked through the forest like autumn leaves, broken branches, uncared-for stray animals. Those kids in fairy tales sent to the woods by evil stepmothers. A circle is a circle is a circle. 33% chance of getting back on track if I push on, or I can wait for nightfall and get minor peril. I'm going to wait for nightfall. Okay, now we're in medium peril. So medium peril is kind of a thin range here. Raising concerns. The yeoman farmers have expressed their concerns about government decisions, clearly favoring the interests of the industrialists. Let me see. Did I put the yeoman farmers in government? I did not. Choosing is always hard, not because the decision is difficult to make, but because the consequences can be a bit inconvenient. Rumors are spreading like smoke from a factory, staining the clear air of the United States of America with a dense and vicious poison. This needs to be addressed. Yeoman farmers happy, industrialists mad. Or they need to accept we can't always please everyone. I'm going to go with the second one. That's going to reduce their happiness, but it's also going to make them weaker, which is kind of what I want. Let me see. Still improving relations with New Grenada. We're definitely getting there. They're rebellious, but relations are good. They're damaging relations, but it's still going up due to them being a protectorate. And their liberty desire is going down. Let me see. Do they have... Yeah, they have interest groups in government. I should fund interest groups. That's what I should do. Oh no, I'm already funding interest groups. Or lobbies. They're called lobbies. Alright, so... And I'm already giving them knowledge sharing. I could reduce... Well, I can't reduce their subject payments because they're a protectorate right now. So new targets. I definitely want to go after Venezuela, but I think not until I've reduced New Grenada's autonomy. Now, what about Benin? Benin's autonomy is pretty low. Got another 13 weeks for them. I think I might reduce their autonomy into a what you call it? Oh my gosh, brain. Into a Dominion. Oh man, as soon as I'm able to. Anyway, a new quest. As the expedition advances, the prioritization of tasks increases in importance, and Lucius Edmondson keeps track of what every man must do. However, the disobedient explorers have already stated their non-agreement with this decision. So, I'm not going to read this flavor text again, we've heard this 100 times. So, I can go hunting, or I can try and find a settlement. I'm going to try to find a settlement. We're at medium peril right now, and 33% chance we can get a reduced peril event, which will be really nice. And it doesn't seem like peril has gone up. So I think peaceful intentions, beautiful. So once again, we're going to pick the special option that we have access to because we've got a baby in the expedition. A few days after being sent on a reconnaissance mission, members of the expedition came back announcing that they found a native village in which the group can find aid, using the newborn baby as a symbol of their peaceful intentions. As days come and go, our landscape offers minimal changes. The mountains are sharper. These mountains are sharper. These are older and more eroded. Now the river runs on this side, now it runs on the other. But the change of circumstances stays the same. Our men came back with great news and announced that another native settlement was found, so we prepared our gifts. Needles, mirrors, medals, ribbons, and all the accessories that looked rich and beautiful. We had already repeated the ritual 100 times, but everyone felt equally important. We needed their help. Once again, the other options are barter with them is reduced peril but a delay. Anyone can guide us as minor progress, but I'm going to go with the third one. So now we're at low peril, and we've gotten a little bit of bonus progress from that. Let's see. American Guinea we actually control. Hausaland is almost at the point of being a state. Oh! Austria had an aristocratic revolt. So, well, let me see. What do they got going on now? Oh my goodness, who are you? Albert von Wittelsbach. Catholic South German. They just threw all their non-landowners groups out of the government. They're an autocratic monarchy still. I should improve relations with them because that's a new country right there. That there's a new country. Let's see. Alright, finances are getting better now that we're building this government admin. Finances are generally pretty solid. I think I can afford to build up the construction sector just a bit more. Let me see, I already put us up to, oh, I need to normalize production methods in some areas. Ah, right. Alright, so, and then Prussia's going after Bremen for a protectorate. Good on you, Prussia. Infertile grounds. Finding the American public. Ooh, this is our. This is William Ingalls. This is our no colonial affairs guy. This is actually very good because no colonial affairs is causing some radicalization. Finding both the American public and supposed political allies unreceptive to his ideas and frustrated, William Ingalls has decided to retire from the realm of politics, opting instead to spend the rest of his days penning embittered reflections on what could have been. I give these bumpkins the truth, and how am I rewarded? With deafening silence, and they call Washington, D.C. a city of ideas, of culture. The only evidence of cultivation I've found in that cesspool of a city came from the fields outside of it, and even they were poorly cared for. Good riddance to you all, I say, sirs. Good riddance to you all. Let him peddle his ideas in peace away from Washington, 5% stronger industrialists. Politely inform him his presence is unwanted in the United States. He's exiled, or he just needs a little nudge to get him back in the game, extra popularity, and some cash. Let's go ahead and go with let him peddle his ideas in peace. I don't necessarily need pacifist stuff going on right now. So let's go ahead. I'm already at... Construction's not in development anymore, is it? No, it is. It is in development. Alright, I'm going to go with another 6 levels. So let's just go ahead and boost up Tennessee, Illinois, and Indiana by 2 levels each. And I'm going to throw those in at the top of the construction queue. Oop. Just make sure we get that done as fast as possible. Swollen River. The expedition members come across a river that is bursting at the banks. They can try to raft across, which could be quick but dangerous. Alternatively, they could search for a more suitable place to cross, although this could take some time. A brief landscape captured in the moment that found us. The bold grays, the prospective river trapped in a cage of violence and impetus. These wandering trees carried away, decapitated. Sometimes some type of animal, otherwise alone. Onward, 66% chance of a safe crossing, 33% chance of a capsized raft. Or better to be safe, the expedition continues. There's no delay on better to be safe. I'm going to go with the second one. We're almost done here, and we're doing pretty well overall. Alright, so that's the movement for no colonial affairs disbanded. Colonization of Mauritania is complete. Beautiful. So, I'm going to get started incorporating that territory. And American Hausaland will be a state pretty soon. With Benin, infamy is at 21.4. Our thingy is ended, so let me see. It's targeting states. Okay, none. So if I diplomatically demand to reduce autonomy, I have 37% chance of accepting. But that'll be 6.3 infamy, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, can we do it via overlord actions? I need their liberty desire to be lower, which is fine. Against the odds. Despite not enjoying full rights under American law, some wealthier Muskogean people have been moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. If we want our children to have a future, this is where we should raise them, he said. I want them to live somewhere safe. She crossed her arms. Have you seen the looks we get? When people talk about safe, they don't mean safe for us. They mean safe from us. We need some new regulations to keep the peace. I don't want those extra radicals from discrimination. Where they fail to earn their success with all that entails, weaker petite bourgeois and weaker evangelicals. Weaker petite bourgeois is good for us. Angry petite bourgeois is not great. But treasury bonds, I don't need reduced loan interest rates. So I'm going to go with that second one. It's also going to weaken the evangelicals, which is just fine. I'm not at all worried about that. And then do a promotion. The yeoman farmers demand the promotion of Brigadier General Clarence Stanley, touting his history of loyal and effective service. He was one of our first successful expeditioners, if I recall correctly. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Delano's face when the field marshal learned of his imminent ascension. The rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last he would have his due. I can say they've earned it to make the yeoman farmers happier, or I can say they won't force their hand, which will make the intelligentsia happier. I'm going to say he's earned it. That's fine. That's completely fine. The Grand Alliance has been formed by Spain. Oh, interesting. Do I have any additional colonization targets? I do not. William Byrd has retired. Oh, Clarence Stanley's heading up the yeoman farmers now. That's really interesting. That actually means I have almost complete leeway to throw secret police into my internal security. But I'm still short on bureaucracy, so let's not go too far here. A circular expedition. The expedition to map the West has been traveling in circles. Lucy Stevenson can either pick a random direction and push on or wait for the night to fall and use the stars as a guide. I'm once again going to ignore this. If you want to pause the video and read it, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to wait for nightfall. Minor peril. Oh, dang, we're back at medium peril. This is not... I'm not pleased about that, but we keep getting expedition continues notifications. We only have one more step to go before we're there, so I'm hoping we can just get there. Once again, I've popped an army with no leader. We're going to put these battalions in the regular army. The regular army is growing, by the way, due to battalions just sort of showing up. I can't improve relations with Tuscany anymore. That's just fine. We'll start improving relations with other... Oh, we mostly can't. What about the two Sicilies? We can improve relations with two Sicilies. They're, yeah, I can improve relations with them. Papal States, I'll do the same. I'm happy to have friends all over Italy. That's my take. Portugal is actually not anyone's vassal right now, which is a surprise. A lot of defensive pacts. I could steal Gambia. If I stole Gambia, it'd be 11.7 infamy. Alright, I'm not going to steal Gambia, but I want you to know I wanna. How much infamy would it be? 42 to turn them into a protectorate. Alright, well, we'll deal with that later. Snow on the ground. Some members of the expedition have expressed their concern that the weather is turning against them. They insist on hunkering down to avoid the worst of it. The layers of snow kept growing like untreated tumors. A huge white, a great white, and the reflection of it making our eyes sore and hurt. If we don't stop now, maybe we won't be able to stop any more. One of the men shivers as he rubs his arms, lips as pale as our shadow over the snow. He doesn't say a word. I'm going to heed their warning. This is the thing I always do. Slight delay. And then I think if it clears up, we get... Yeah, here we go. Snow clears. After a while, the snow has subsided enough to push on. It's a good thing we didn't try to go out in that. It would have been a disaster. So that gives us minor progress. And that should complete the expedition. Beautiful. Here we go. So, the Oregon Trail. After a long and arduous journey, the expedition has finally come to an end. The expedition has managed to map the entire length of the Oregon Trail. A newly drawn map has been laid out on the back of a wooden wagon. The ink blinks, still wet, and its shining curves follow the just-discovered trails as tributaries of a river. A young boy comes bearing a cup of tea, quiet, demure, curious. He tries to look at the map, but his education stops him. He leaves the tea on the table and walks away quietly. His dad got lost in these mountains, another member says. Good thing we've got them all mapped now. Wonderful news. So that gives us another prestige bump. And now... finally, I can, I can... Okay, here we go. Okay, so this happens automatically. The Oregon Treaty. Great Britain has agreed to our reasonable terms and has ceded control of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho to the United States of America. The present treaty shall be ratified by the President of the United States of America, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate thereof, and the ramifications shall be exchanged at London, at the expiration of 6 months from the date hereof, or sooner, if possible. A most amicable agreement. So these all become Yankee homelands. Do we get them as incorporated states? We do not. So I'm going to have to start incorporating now, and that means we're going to be short on bureaucracy once again. But we're about to pop 2 new bureaucracy buildings, so that shouldn't be an issue. Infamy is still 20, which is higher than it could be, but basically okay. So, the Dutch got... interesting. So, the Dutch got Mauritania... and the British got Ghana. Which is very interesting. We've got all this territory, so I think you got goofed here, Great Britain. I must say. But also, I want to steal that. Let me see. Do you have any problematic defensive pacts? Not really. You've got an alliance with Sweden, but that's not that big of a deal. So, I can't conquer Dutch Mauritania because relations are too good. Alright, well, Netherlands, it turns out I want that, so let's, let's start faffing about here. I can afford to have kind of bad relations with the Dutch. Because if I can get all of Mauritania here... Britain still has a little bit of inner Mauritania, which is kind of curious. But I don't think that's going to... Oh, they are still colonizing. They're still colonizing, but they're completely cut off. But I might be able to get that territory through state trading. In any case, I would love to get Mauritania, because then I can grab Furutoro, Caro, Carta, Segu, Messina, all that zone. I can do a bunch of colonization there. I'm very close to being able to get into the bottom of East Sahara, which would also be a nice colonization opportunity. We got some more stuff going on in Baroda, but I'm not too worried about that. Infamy is high, though, so again, we're trying to chill. I got some small armies kicking around here. Small armies and fleets. Again, this... I'm not sure what causes this to happen. But we're going to fold these into the regular army, same as we always do. I think this is us... I think because we're colonizing territory over here, we're taking buildings as we do so. And I believe that those units are becoming employed in the United States. I think that's what's happening. Maybe it's over here. In any case, I think that's what causes this situation. Let me see. Denmark does not have a truce with me, do they? They don't. They have an alliance with Benin and defensive pacts with Venezuela and New Grenada. I would love to get... What if I made Venezuela a protectorate? That's actually not that far away, and I could grab Danish Togo at the same time. So I need to be below... that'd be like 17 infamy, so I need to be at 6 infamy or below in order to make that happen. So we'll work on that. We'll work on that. That'll be a process. I don't need to continue improving relations with France, so I can get more of that. Finances are a little bit less good, but okay. They're doing okay. So let's take a look at our... I think it's time to do a little bit of economic development here. So I'm going to take a look at infrastructure levels. So Amazonas and New Grenada needs some infrastructure. Amazonas has a big construction efficiency modifier, but that's okay. I think we can still afford to do that. Guaviare is very close to out of infrastructure, so we'll build there. Bogota, their infrastructure is short, we'll build there. Cauca, infrastructure is very close to being depleted, we'll build there. Antioquia, infrastructure could definitely stand to be better. They've already got one railway, we'll build one there. And then Panama, last but not least, is at 9 out of 9. So we'll build up... Okay, so we're building up all the infrastructure in New Grenada. And there's the rubber mastication tech. So that'll be very useful for us. How's infrastructure doing in Nicaragua? Let's see. It's short. Oh, goodness. Well, time for us to build up a railway. Liberia is probably a little rough as well. Yep. They're short as well. That's all right though. Gotta keep all these places in my market, fully integrated into the market. So, speaking of the market, what's doing rough? Artillery's doing a little rough. Tooling's doing a little rough, and we could use some more farms. Oop. got a little bit of a goofed notification here. Let me see how long we've been. Oh, we're fine. We're doing just fine. So, we are fully... Oh, normalizing production methods. Yes, that's something I should do. Because I took some new territory. Why is open air stockyards my default? Oh, I bet it's because of the African territories that I took. So, we're going to actually swap everyone over to slaughterhouses. Okay, that's maybe a little too much. Let's put them on butchering tools instead. Alright, that should be fine. Oh, and then we've got actually... we've got access to dynamite, and I completely forgot to change over my production methods for my mines to use the dynamite, but that's going to be very good. That's going to reduce mortality, among many other things. And you can see we're actually already getting a significant little increase in minting due to having increased the output of those gold mines, which is really nice. So let's see. Where are we on incorporation with the territories in Africa? Dahomey will come in next episode. Togo, probably next episode. Well, Togo we might get to the end of. Guinea will be next episode. Windward Coast might not be. Inefficient agriculture. So this is Arkansas. This is the industrialists complaining about subsistence farms in Arkansas. I'm going to say we should follow their advice. We got us some migration attraction there. And we got an election coming up in 3 months, and I think after that, once that ends, we'll call it an episode. So let's see. We're building up a ton of railways. Oh, I should check my freaking infrastructure needs. No, I already did that. I already checked the infrastructure needs of the African territories. I really want to get New Grenada down autonomy. But I want to do the same for Benin, because Benin's been a little bit difficult for us. I'm going to give them knowledge sharing to help get their liberty desire decreasing at a faster rate. And that'll be nice. I think I might still do it via infamy. Indian territory I do need. Liberia is going to get annexed. Nicaragua is going to get annexed. I already reduced them via infamy, though, so I've got a truce. Although, that's almost done. So I could annex, but again, I'm trying to get my infamy down so that I can do other stuff. So let's get working on some more tooling factories. I'm going to put those in New York because I've already got a pretty significant tooling industry in New York. We'll throw 5 levels in there. And then, let me see, explosive needs have gone up. So where do we have explosives being produced? We've got... Oh, I've got a higher production method for that. Let's start with that and see how that goes. The Rhode Island Campaign. The government's friendly relationship with Great Britain, an infamous country with a horrible reputation, has been the subject of sharp criticism and strong rhetoric from leading opposition candidates. To think that the name of the United States of America, not due to any real necessity, but purely from cynical diplomatic gestures, should be associated with ghastly crimes such as this perpetrated by Great Britain, I tell you, we must pursue a new foreign policy, an ethical foreign policy. What good is all this if we cannot look at ourselves in the mirror without shame? Perhaps the speaker has a point, reduces the momentum of the Republicans, increases the momentum of nobody. Or if the government distances itself from Great Britain, his argument will be undercut. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know Great Britain had all that much infamy. Oh, they're just infamous. They're only 26.2. You'll be fine. Alright, so I'm not going to decay relations with Great Britain at this time. Although I will likely do so in the future. Well, actually, they're very good. And they're going up pretty fast due to our trade agreement and alliance. I could stand to decay them, but no, I don't want to. So I have to say perhaps he has a point. So that increases the momentum of... That reduces the momentum of the Republicans and increases the momentum of the Free Trade Party. Which is simply what it is. Alright, so that does us a little better for explosives, but I think we can still stand to expand the explosives industry. Let's put another couple levels in Michigan. Michigan has plenty of labor available, does it not? Yes, it does. She sure does. Alright, so... Explosives factories. We'll put 3 more levels there. That should give us more than enough coverage. Ooh! Booming industries. With the recent expansion, both in the production and consumption of explosives in the country, there's been much debate on whether the military or the industrial sector should have priority. Why should we worry about how much dirt we can move when we should be thinking about how to defend our country? All you care about is starting more wars. We should put this to use for our workers instead. They're more important. Try to support both industries, extra explosives factory throughput. You have the industrial sector priority, 20% mines throughput. You have the military sector priority, 33% munitions plants throughput. You know I'm going to give it to the industrial sector, because I always do. But also because I'm not really buying all that many explosives right now, because I'm not in a war. That's only going to matter if we're in a war. All of our stuff is extremely productive. So let's take a look at those mines. Are these mines fully employed? They're not. And they're not profitable. And I don't know why they're not profitable. Maybe because of the price of explosives. Yeah, because explosives are expensive, but we can deal with that. Alright, so here's steel frame buildings. I didn't prepare for that, but that's okay. I can definitely make preparations for that. I'm going to get started with building the Statue of Liberty in New York, because that's definitely something I need to work on. So we're going to need to go to steel frame construction, and we should do that sooner rather than later. That's going to really be a boost to our economy. So what's that going to take? It's going to add 40 glass and 50 steel and 10 explosives to each of our construction sectors. So that's 320 explosives and about 1,800 steel and glass and a little bit less of glass. So we need a bunch more steel. So what's my current steel output. I got 8 steel mills producing 90 steel each. And that steel is being consumed mostly by tooling workshops. So basically I'm going to need to triple the size of the steel industry. So, it's kind of all spread out here, but that's okay. We can put 2 levels in Virginia, 2 in New York, 3 each in Illinois, Tennessee, and we'll put 10. We'll put 6 in Pennsylvania, because that's a tripling. It's actually not that much. And then we're going to need a lot more glass. I think we can achieve what we need to achieve simply by, because these glassworks are reasonably productive. But I think we can achieve what we need to achieve without doing too much here. We've already got some glassworks in Oregon, so I'm going to want to expand those, because I think that's something... Let me see what's going on in Oregon. Infrastructure is pretty good. Not much population available in these territories. Idaho's got population available, but I definitely want to draw population to these zones. So we'll go ahead and build up the glassworks here, and then we'll go ahead and build up some glassworks somewhere else. Probably in, I think we had some in Rhode Island? Or no, Rhode Island's down here. This is Vermont. Where's it? New Hampshire? Yeah, it is Rhode Island. Oh, but Rhode Island doesn't have that much population. Got really low attraction here because there's not a lot of space. These small states are pretty difficult to use, I gotta say. We got some in Massachusetts. Massachusetts got labor available, so we'll put 4 levels in Massachusetts. And then I think there's some in Pennsylvania. I'll put 3 more there, because Pennsylvania is kind of my industrial... Pennsylvania, New York, and Ohio are kind of my industrial heartlands here. Military revolt in Hesse, don't need to worry about that. Liberal revolt in Western Australia, don't need to worry about that. Alright. We had an election. I'm like, I thought I saw an event. Oh my goodness. Oh, Joshua Norton. Oh, excellent. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, there's a lot of things going on here. Hold the phone. Dial it back. Give me a second. So, here we go. President Lincoln is still in the government. I could pull the yeoman farmers in and still have 90% legitimacy, which would be very, very funny. The temptation is high, to be honest, but what would they do? They're particularists. They're happy about the army model. They're against... Interesting. Isolationists, they're against colonization, against migration, against free trade. And then Jeffersonians... Yes, is in there. They like universal suffrage. So they could help me pass universal suffrage. I think that might be the right call. Because that would weaken the Petite Bourgeoisie. It wouldn't get me ticking loyalists, though. The Free Trade Party would oppose it. The Republican Party will oppose it, although, actually... No. The intelligentsia will not oppose it because they're headed up by a Democrat. Normally they prefer... Oh no, they're neutral on census versus universal, normally. And because they're headed up by a Democrat, they need to be headed up by a radical. That's what will cause that. So I'm going to continue to leave the place as it is. So, artistic inspiration. Enthralled by the magnificent realist artwork produced by British artists, the intelligentsia have begun to align themselves with the American British Fellowship. British Impressionism. The words now seem to fit together seamlessly as French wine or Chinese silk, acquiring a meaning greater than the sum of their parts. He could spend the rest of his life in this gallery, import enough masterworks to coat every wall of his home, and yet remain just as enraptured as he was when he first laid eyes on it. Each painting was a window into a culture he could spend a lifetime attempting to comprehend. Each brushstroke driven by a vigor which had grown from a foreign seed. How much could he understand about Great Britain through these, if he merely had the time and ability? What culture? Intelligentsia joins the American British Fellowship. What culture? Intelligentsia gets surrounded by Philistines, minus 10% interest group political strength. Alright, I'm going to go with what culture? We got a language in the classroom event. We've seen this one before. Algonquian students sometimes use their native language in American schools. Some have called for teachers to penalize the use of these languages, forcing children to speak the official language of the United States of America. You've noticed it too, right? He gets angry when anyone talks in class, but he always gets angry when we're talking. Maybe he thinks we're talking about him. I think he just doesn't like being reminded that we know something he doesn't. Schools should teach them to speak the proper language, extra assimilation, extra radicals from discrimination, where their language is part of their heritage. Reduce assimilation, reduce radicals from discrimination. I'm going to go... I get some Algonquian radical pops here. Let me see. Again, Petite Bourgeoisie are happy. I'm going to go with the first one. And then finally, we have an America-specific event, He Who Would Be King. A resident of the California region, Joshua Norton, has declared himself an emperor. He's begun issuing his own decrees, and people have printed currency with his likeness. At the peremptory request and desire of the large majority of the citizens of the United States, I, Joshua Norton, formerly of Algoa Bay, Cape of Good Hope, and now for the last 9 years and 10 months past of San Francisco, California, declare and proclaim myself emperor of these United States. Let him proclaim, it keeps the people laughing, it gets him some extra popularity and increases loyalism in California, or a foreign head of state cannot be allowed to walk free. He's exiled and becomes a political martyr permanently. An exiled character with a country culture diplomatic catalyst is triggered between Great Britain and the United States. Interesting. I think we're gonna go with the first one. Emperor Norton's a very silly figure from American history who you should look up if you haven't, because he's quite a character. Evangelicals are headed up by a reformer now, but that doesn't actually impact things all that much. So Joshua Norton is a royalist. Although the Petite Bourgeoisie, if I recall correctly, already like monarchy, so that doesn't actually change all that much. So we have a path to America becoming a kingdom. That's what's going on here. And I think if we do, then Emperor Norton gets a special event. But in any case, we'll explore a little bit more about that in future episodes. For now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun. And I'll see you on the other side.